catastrophe.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most significant controversies that have shaken the fashion industry over the years.
And said things like, if you just had confidence, you'd go really far. The entire experience was terrifying and humiliating.
Number 10, Balenciaga's controversial ad campaigns.
The fact that Balenciaga is trying to shift blame over to its production house and the set designer is going to be a hard sell.
In November 2022, Balenciaga launched 2 ad campaigns that stirred a huge controversy and led to a PR disaster for the luxury fashion brand. The first featured children holding teddy bear handbags, accessorized with leather straps, chains, and fishnet tops. This imagery sparked immediate criticism for seemingly associating children with bondage paraphernalia.
It is the exploitation of children, and anyone who buys from Balenciaga is agreeing with that.
Shortly after, a second ad surfaced, featuring documents from a Supreme Court case concerning inappropriate material involving youth. This campaign also included a book by an artist named Michael Bormans, known for his controversial paintings depicting children in often graphic scenarios. In response to the backlash, Balenciaga issued multiple public apologies and initially sued the production company behind the second campaign, although the lawsuit was later dropped.
Is it possible that they had no approval rights? I would have to say, after working in Hollywood, it's an emphatic no.
Number 9, Dolce & Gabbana oppose same-sex adoption. Domenico Dolce and Stefano Gabbana, the renowned fashion designers behind Italian brand Dolce & Gabbana, found themselves at the centre of a controversy back in 2015. Despite both being gay and a former couple themselves, the pair stated in an interview with Italian magazine Panorama that they opposed adoption by same-sex couples. They also condemned in vitro fertilization and surrogacy, describing children born via IVF as synthetic.
Unbelievable.
Ignorant.
Ignorant.
I would say the word ignorant.
Their remarks sparked widespread criticism from the LGBTQIA+ community, particularly from singer Elton John, who called for a boycott of the brand. Many others criticized the duo for perpetuating outdated stereotypes and discrimination against same-sex families. The designers later clarified that while they respected other people's choices, they simply held a different opinion.
But Dolce, who has said the more controversial comments, even back in 2006 said he'd love to have children, but because he's gay, he's not allowed to do so. So their views have been on the record for at least a decade, but it's thanks to social media that they are spreading now worldwide.
Number 8, Vans removes protest sneakers.
Frankie and I were just kind of talking about the cool way to get Vans involved with his art students. And the idea of painting shoes kind of came about.
Every year, Vans hosts the Custom Culture competition, inviting participants to submit custom designs for a chance to win $25,000 and see their sneakers produced. In 2019, one design featured a red bauhinia, the flower of Hong Kong's flag, alongside protesters wearing gas masks, goggles, and hard hats. The design was a nod to the 2014 pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong. However, as this entry rose to the top of the online poll determining the winner, Vans suddenly removed it from consideration. This move triggered outrage from social media users and led to calls for a boycott of the brand. The skateboarding company later defended its decision, stating that it had never taken a political position.
With Sean and kind of stirring this up a couple of years ago, I didn't really have any idea of what it could be.
Number 7, Marc Jacobs' bribery scandal. For years, during New York Fashion Week, designer Marc Jacobs held his shows at the highly sought-after 69th Regiment Armory, located at 26th and Lexington Avenue.
The Armory runs from Lexington Avenue to Park Avenue, so it's a full city block. And I felt if the girls walked in from the Lexington Avenue entrance all the way through to Park Avenue, it's a real long walk.
Jacobs' ability to consistently secure the venue puzzled many, until the truth emerged in 2008. It was revealed that the designer's company, Marc Jacobs International, had been bribing the building's superintendent, James Jackson. Between 2000 and 2007, the company paid Jackson $35,000 in cash and goods in exchange for preferential treatment.
You know, I am aware, there are things that permeate that bubble. I do know a little bit about what's going on in the world.
Jackson, who also extorted payments from other clients, eventually pleaded guilty to grand larceny and bribery. Although he was not criminally indicted, Jacobs paid a $1 million settlement to the state for his role in the scandal.
But ultimately, I'm a person, and I think what I fear most is shame, is feeling shame.
Number 6, Beastroy's anti-gun violence controversy.
Let me ask you this. Do you remember your worst outfit?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this in 2 parts.
I can tell you one.
Some topics are just too sensitive to be made into fashion statements. New York-based brand Beastroy learned that the hard way in 2019, after they sent models down the runway wearing sweatshirts with names like Columbine, Sandy Hook, and Stoneman Douglas. If those names ring a bell, that's because they were the sites of some of the deadliest school shootings in the US. Even worse, the sweatshirts were intentionally distressed to look like they were ridden with bullet holes. Needless to say, this was deemed highly insensitive, particularly by the victims' families and survivors of these tragic events.
One family from Sandy Hook said, "You'll never know what our family went through. Our pain is not to be used for your fashion." So I get the message. Well, I don't even get the message that they're trying to do.
Beastroy's founders Brick Owens and Dieter Grams were criticised over the designs, but defended the work as mere social commentary.
It's not fashionable. It doesn't send any message. They said they're trying to bring attention to the shootings. There has to be another way to do that.
Number 5, John Galliano's antisemitic revelations.
We stopped carrying Galliano after he, came out in support of the Holocaust.
I mean, I don't agree with him, but that's no reason to condemn him for life.
If only the Germans had had the same attitude.
In 2011, famed fashion designer John Galliano, known for his work at Givenchy and Dior, faced severe backlash after a disturbing video of him surfaced. The video captured Galliano making a series of deeply troubling anti-Semitic statements towards a group of Jewish women outside a bar in Paris. This revelation shocked the fashion world, leading to his swift dismissal from his position as creative director at Dior, a role that he had held for 14 years.
John Galliano claims that he lost control due to drink and drugs and has apologised unreservedly for his actions. But the British designer has already been sacked by the fashion house Dior.
Not only was Galliano condemned by the industry figures and the public alike, he was also charged to court, as the expression of anti-Semitic ideas is illegal in France. Galliano was subsequently convicted and handed a suspended fine of €6,000.
He wasn't sent to jail, but his career and reputation are in ruins. A clear message to the people of France that anti-Semitic behaviour won't be tolerated.
Number 4, Gucci's blackface scandal.
Okay, what the Gucci? Why would you make that? Even as a clothing item, why would you make that? And where would you even wear that?
In February 2019, Gucci launched a line of turtleneck sweaters that reached up to the mouth and featured a cutout with oversized red lips. Shortly after the product appeared on the company's website, many people noticed it bore a striking resemblance to blackface. As a result, Gucci was slammed on social media, with many criticising the design as racially insensitive, especially given its release during Black History Month.
The company is not diverse, or they're not inclusive. You'll find that a lot of those problems arise because people of different diversities have different ways of seeing things, different ways of expressing things.
Gucci quickly removed the product from its website, and Alessandro Michele, who was the label's creative director at the time, issued a public apology. Following the scandal, the fashion house implemented a diversity and inclusion strategy and appointed Renee Tirado as the global head of that initiative.
You have to show a little bit of effort, and that's if you show the effort, we will give you what you need to be better in the space, but you have to still do the work.
Number 3, Burberry's controversial noose hoodies. Yet another significant fashion blunder that had us thinking, was this approved by a child? Also in February 2019, British label Burberry sparked controversy when its models appeared on the runway wearing hoodies with drawstrings tied to resemble nooses around their necks.
Burberry says the design was inspired by a nautical theme, but now realizes it was insensitive.
The first major criticism came from Burberry model Liz Kennedy, who had walked the runway wearing one of the hoodies. Kennedy condemned the fashion house for trivializing mental health issues and evoking disturbing imagery of lynching.
The company apologized and removed the product and all images that featured it.
Apologies are not enough when it comes to making racism a fashion trend.
Burberry wouldn't be the only brand to get called out by its model. In September of the same year, runway model Aisha Tan Jones protested at a Gucci show for the use of straitjackets in the company's Spring-Summer 2020 collection.
Tan Jones and some other models involved in the show say they will be donating
part of their fees to mental health charities.
Number 2, the Anand John Alexander case.
I figured out the secret to have a great show is first and foremost find the most beautiful girls.
In the mid-2000s, Anand John Alexander was a rising star in the fashion industry. He had styled big names like Janet Jackson and Paris Hilton, and even made it into Newsweek's Who's Next in 2007. However, his promising career took a dark turn in March 2007, when he was arrested and charged with multiple counts of sexual assault against aspiring models, some of whom were minors.
The things that you heard were that he was a predator, that he would come on to these young models and promise them whatever he could to get his way with them.
These ladies alleged that Alexander lured them to his house with promises of modelling opportunities, only to assault them. Following a highly publicised trial, Alexander was convicted of numerous criminal counts and sentenced to 59 years to life in prison.
He was convicted of 12 different counts in California. He still has to face trials in Dallas and Houston.
Despite this conviction, Alexander maintains his innocence and continues to fight for his release.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, Mario Testino and Bruce Weber sexual assault allegations.
There's some days where I get off work, I sit in my car and I cry. I don't know why. You know, and that's not something that I did before.
They are two of the world's most renowned fashion photographers, having worked with major brands like Calvin Klein, Ralph Lauren, Versace, and Chanel, just to name a few. But in 2018, Mario Testino and Bruce Weber faced troubling allegations of sexual harassment and assault. These allegations, which were detailed in investigative reports by the New York Times, were brought forward by several male models and assistants who had worked with the photographers.
I've kept these and other secrets inside for the last 13 years. It's only been recently that I've had honest discussions about what's happened, and that I've talked to other young men who, like me, knew that if we protested or refused, we would be blacklisted.
The scandal sent shockwaves through the industry, prompting media giant Condé Nast to suspend its collaborations with them. Both Testino and Weber denied the allegations. Weber was even sued by some of his accusers, although the cases were later dismissed or settled without him admitting any guilt.
A 75-year-old professional, as this photographer is a professional, so he knows what is wrong in terms of the touch.
What other outrageous fashion scandals did we omit? Let us know in the comments below.
You got nothing on me. If I'm as sick as my secrets, I don't have any secrets.